Grayson Stark, and I'm the granddaughter of two Holocaust survivors. My grandfather, Robert Stark, was born in Hungary in 1932, and my grandmother, Eva Stark, in Germany in 1937. My family and I remember our pappy for his gleaming smile, his inappropriate sense of humor, and most of all, his resilience. His mischievous personality enabled him to survive the Nazis when he and his brother ran away from a temporary boys' home to find food and escape the tragic death of the many whose shoes were still left at the Danube. My grandmother Ava continues to be my family's source of strength and compassion. My grandmother's mother died only minutes after she was born into the growing violence of pre-World War II Germany. As the war picked up, our great-grandparents moved with her to Chile, where she grew up. My grandmother did not meet her father again until she was 17 years old in the United States. Growing up with my grandparents has been central to my upbringing and the creation of my Jewish identity. Sitting around the Sunday breakfast table, I found that despite the incredible challenges of their upbringing, my grandparents were able to persevere with tremendous will and determination. Despite the hate that dominated their childhoods, they had nothing but love to share with everyone they encountered. They taught me the value of being compassionate and bold and continuing to honor my Jewish heritage. Eager to strengthen my Jewish identity, I have spent the past year on Young Judea Gap Year here in Israel. Learning Hebrew, traveling the country, and meeting fellow passionate Jewish peers has been an incredible, rewarding experience. This Yom Hashoah, we will travel to Jerusalem and stand in awe before the Western Wall. At the Butterfly Statue project in Charlotte, my grandfather inscribed on the ceramic butterfly, "The best gift in life is to be free." Because of the strength of my grandparents and the Jewish people of the Holocaust, I am here today.
My name is Alex Diefel, and I'm a great-grandson of a Holocaust survivor, Ava Diamond, and a forced labor survivor, Leon Diamond. To end our program this afternoon, I would like to introduce two members of our community who have made it a priority to share their stories of the Holocaust survivor. It is my honor to introduce Irving Beanstalk and Suli Jenkin. Irving Beanstalk was born in Dortmund, Germany. His life changed when Hitler came to power, and at the age of 12, he escaped from Germany to Holland. He eventually reunited with his mother and sister, and together they traveled to New York City to reunite with his father. Suli Jenkin was born in Kovno, Lithuania, and 6 months later, the Nazis invaded the country at only 10 months old. Suli and her family were prisoners in the hard labor camp known as the Kovno Ghetto. Although she was tearfully given away by her parents to try and save her, they fortunately reunited and relocated to Cuba.
Today, we remember the Shoah, perpetrated against us by the Nazis and a world that turned its back on what was happening to us. And in many cases, helping the Nazis. I remember when it all started in 1933. When I was 6.5 years old. We lived in the city of Dortmund, Germany, where I was born. Swastika flags were flying from all of our neighbors' houses, celebrating Hitler's election. Now my name was no longer Erich Beanstalk. My name became Dreckiger Jude, or Dirty Jew. I remember the numerous new laws that were passed. The Nuremberg laws that Jewish people could no longer be treated by Aryan doctors. Jews could no longer own a business or property. Jewish students could no longer attend high schools or universities. Jews could no longer visit parks and recreation areas, nor movies and theaters. I remember going to school one morning. When I came home that afternoon, my mother of blessed memory told me that my father had to flee Germany because he feared imminent arrest by the Gestapo. I remember the Gestapo coming to our house looking for my father. I remember Friday morning, October the 28th, 1938, when the Nazis deported all of the Polish Jews living in Germany to Poland, including my grandmother and most of my other relatives. All of them perished in the Shoah. I remember Kristallnacht, the beginning of the Holocaust. I was 12 years old, and after Kristallnacht, I remember my mother sending me and my younger sister Sylvia separately to Holland, without a destination in Holland. I remember arriving in the United States on April the 17th, 1940, and being reunited with my parents and sister, and then returning to Europe as a soldier in the United States Army exactly 5 years later, at age 18. I remember while in Italy with the 10th Mountain Division, reading reports in the Stars and Stripes newspaper of the liberation of the concentration camp by my fellow soldiers in Germany. And I remember the surrender of Germany on Monday, May the 7th, 1945. I also remember the day when we were bivouacked near a highway outside of Bologna, Italy, when I saw a convoy of British military trucks passing by, flying Jewish white and blue flags with the Mogen David in the middle. It was a Jewish brigade from Palestine which had participated in the final breakthrough of the German line on April the 10th, 1945. This brigade was the first organized Jewish military combat unit since the destruction of the Second Temple in the year 70 of the Common Era. Today, I remember my family who perished in the Shoah, and today, I proudly can tell you about my Charlotte family regarding our recent trip to the Jewish state of Israel. This trip was organized by my family member Dana Capucin and included Susan and Donald Jacobs and Lynn and Maury Sheffer. We were amazed at what we saw 75 years after the liberation of Auschwitz by Soviet forces, a beautiful, modern, democratic state. At Yad Vashem, we visited a tree and monument in honor of Gertrude Weissmuller, one of the righteous among the nations, who helped me to survive and to be here today. We were welcomed to the Knesset, the first Jewish government in 2,000 years. We were welcomed at Hadassah Hospital, where we met an American Jewish wounded soldier of the IDF. And at the Syrian border, we were welcomed by the Ayat Battalion, which honored us by standing at attention when we walked in. Today, Israel is the mightiest military power in the Middle East. Today, I speak about remembrance so that we do not forget the Holocaust still matters. We see acts of anti-Semitism and attacks against democracy right here in America. No longer are people just painting swastikas on walls. They are killing Jews in the places of worship. On January 6, 2021, as mobs stormed the Capitol, I was scared to death. If we do not remember what happened during the Holocaust, history will repeat itself. We cannot forget the necessity of speaking up when we see something wrong. Be upstanders, not bystanders. Am Yisrael Chai.
I was born in the eye of the storm, when the world was thrown back into the dark ages, when the inhumanity of a few and the silence of too many allowed evil to win and reign. In my birthplace of Kovno, Lithuania, it took 3 years for evil to be defeated. And when it was over, 90% of the original Jewish population had been murdered. And out of the some 5,000 children under the age of 12, only 3% survived. So the question is, how come I'm here to tell this story? Because of Nania, my nanny who was forbidden to live among Jews. All she did was send word to my father that Nazis were rounding up all the young children in the Kovno ghetto under the age of 12. Because of her, a hiding bunker was dug out and I was spared. Because of Pfiffinger, my father's Nazi SS boss, the enemy with a conscience, all he did was look the other way and tacitly encourage my father to find a way for me out of the ghetto ASAP. And when my parents risked their sanity and had their 3-year-old only child tossed over the barbed wire, there was a young woman by the name of Albina. She believed she would earn fame and rewards for saving a Jewish child, and kept me safe in her Christian home for close to 3 months. And then there was unbelievable Miriam Shulman, the mastermind of the operation and the ultimate woman of valor. Raised and married in ultra-Orthodoxy, she tossed aside all she ever knew and risked her life to save the children of people she had never met. I owe my life to her courage and my sanity to her love and caring during the almost 3 years I was away from my parents. These people are the answer to the question of why and how I survived. They all had one trait in common. They took risks, some small, some very big, to stand for what they believed was the right thing to do and stand up to hate, bigotry, and murder. They were upstanders, not bystanders. Today, I remember and mourn the 1.5 million Jewish children who did not share my luck.
Kol od balevav panima nefesh Yehudi homia.
Ulefa'ate mizrach kadima ein letzion Sophia.
Od la'ad v'tikvatenu, ha'tikva b'shnot ha'payim.
Li'otam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Li'otam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
God bless America, land that I love.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam.
God bless America,
my home, sweet home.
God bless America, land that I love.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam.
God bless America, my home, sweet home.
From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with